Is that the end of the movie? It's close to the end of the movie. I don't want to in reality watch that movie anymore. I mean, I was there. Yeah, you had been. While that film comes on this time of year, I mean, that is the freshest time to be Mac O'Collin. Yeah, yeah. At the back of that well-known Home Alone scream, become a baby trapped in hell at simply 10 years old. Maul Kulon was really worth $50 million. However, he failed to even know it. His father made certain of that today. The scary fact emerges: the threats, the abuse, and the twisted cause package cult turned his personal son right into a prisoner of fame. This isn't simply any other toddler star story. It is a father's betrayal. A good way to go away, you speechless? Macaulay Culkin became born on August 26, 1980, in Manhattan, New York. His own family turned into massive. His home becomes small, and cash turned into always tight. He grew up with 6 siblings in a tiny apartment in Yorkville, a space so cramped that they all had to percentage bunk beds in one room. There had been no doorways, just a slim hallway that served as their domestic privacy. Did not exist. However, the chaos added them near his father, Kid Cullen, were a degree actor. Before taking a task at a neighborhood church, his mom, Patricia Brunn, labored as a phone operator for a casting enterprise. That connection to the Leisure International could change the entirety, for Maciel lifestyles changed into tough McCall. Later shared how he used to move slowly under theater seats, searching out misplaced trade, a small, however telling sign of ways Lotz's family struggled. However, in that crowded rental, something else changed into going on. His father had as soon as dreamed of making it as an actor, and now he saw a chance for his youngsters. Kit pushed them into show business, believing certainly one of them may want to succeed. Mao stood out earlier than he grew to become 5. He became already performing in off-Broadway productions like Bach, Toddlers, and The Nutcracker with the New York City Ballet. His mom's job helped too. She had connections at casting corporations, and one director, Billy Hopkins, even paid for Mekau's Ides to auditions via 8. He had landed small roles in Rocket Jalter and Notice in the Morning, but the whole lot modified in 1989. Whilst he starred in Uncle Buck with John Candy, his performance stole the show. His expressions, timing, and traction made him impossible to disregard. He wasn't simply every other baby actor. He becomes something unique. Macaulay Culkin's lifestyles modified for all time when he have become Kevin Mallister in Home Alone. He turned into simply every other kid auditioning for a movie. He turned into the most well-known toddler actor within the global to film. Directed by way of Chris Columbus and written through John Hughes, told the story of a boy left behind throughout Christmas, who had to outsmart 2 burglars. It turned into funny smart, and had just the right quantity of heart, but none of it have worked without the appropriate Kevin Cologne. Changed into the first child, Columbus noticed for the function. However, the director wasn't certain he saved looking and auditioned over 200 different children. None of them had the same natural attraction. Whilst Cullen got here back for a 2D audition, he had memorized complete scenes from the script. He failed to simply say the lines. He became Kevin. That changed into it. The hunt was over while Home Alone hit theaters in 1990. It have become an immediately sensation. Audiences could not get sufficient of Kevin's wild tricks and hilarious traps. The film remodeled $285 million inside the US by myself breaking data and turning Kulon right into a worldwide superstar. His face turned into everywhere on posters, magazines, and even lunchboxes. Kevin's scream, his love for cheese pizza, and his fearless mindset became pop culture gold. Culkin's performance was a large part of why the movie labored so nicely. He made Kevin extra than only a mischievous child. He made him funny, brave, and completely relatable. Critics and audiences cherished him. Hollywood observed too. Unexpectedly, every foremost studio desired him in their subsequent big film. 2 years later, Domestic by Myself, 2 Misplaced in New York, hit theaters. This time, Kevin got separated from his circle of relatives again, but now he had all of New York City as his playground. The film kept the whole thing that made the first one first-rate and delivered even bigger stunts and funnier moments. It failed to make us a lot cash because the unique, however, It turned into nonetheless a large hit, earning over $173 million in the US by Myself for Coolin. The sequel become more than simply every other blockbuster. It become a economic leap forward. His profits for the primary Home Alone changed into huge for a child actor, but for the second, he earned losing $4,500,000 by the point he starred in Richie Rich in 1994. He was making $15 million per film. At simply 14 years antique, he became one of the highest paid actors in Hollywood. However, fame got here was strained. His father hit Kulan managed his career and pushed for larger paychecks. However, behind the curtain, things weren't easy. By way of the mid-90s, Macaulay took a step back from appearing. He had made enough money to ultimate an entire life, and the spotlight had started to feel overwhelming even after he left Hollywood. Home Alone by no means dwindled. Each December, households around the sector watched Kevin protect his house, and in Outsmart the Burglars, the movie became a vacation lifestyle. Youngsters who grew up watching it confirmed it to their very own youngsters. It wasn't only a film, it became a part of humans' childhoods. A long time later, Domestic on My Own continues to be one of the maximum liked films of all time. The slapstick comedy, the smart traps, and the heartwarming story all performed a part in its success. However, on the center of it all, become M. Calcu. Coolin, he failed to simply play Kevin Mallister, he changed into Kevin Mallister, and irrespective of how many years bypass, that little boy with the huge grin will constantly remind audiences of the magic of Christmas. Mikhail Coolin changed into anywhere inside the early 90s. However, as he grew older, the whole thing began to alternate. He desired to prove he wasn't simply the mischievous kid from Home Alone. He wanted something greater. In 1991. He took on a function that was absolutely distinctive from something he had executed before. My Female wasn't a slapstick comedy or an adventure movie. It changed into emotional. It changed into tragic. Hewlin played Thomas J. A Candy in Fragile Boy, allergic to almost the entirety. His overall performance became heartfelt, and the film changed into a achievement incomes over $17 million in the US. However, it wasn't just another hit that changed into a turning factor. For the primary time, audiences noticed him as more than only a humorous child. Then got here. The Good Son in 1993, a film that greatly surprised all and sundry. Rather than playing a cute troublemaker, he have become Henry Evans, a boy without a sense of right and wrong. And no regret. This wasn't the Macaulay Culkin people knew. This became something darker, something stressful. His bloodless stare, his unsettling calmness. It was an overall performance that made humans uncomfortable. Critics had blended opinions at the movie, but no one should deny that Cullen had variety. He wasn't afraid to take dangers. His father, Kit Coolin, had pushed for this position, even threatening to tug him from home. By Myself too misplaced in New York until he got the component. It turned into a ambitious pass, and it worked by way of 1,994. Column was nonetheless landing primary roles, but the excitement round him became fading. He starred in Richie Rich Gambling, a billionaire youngster with a heart of gold. The movie had the whole lot a laugh premise, a well-known person, and Coolin's signature allure, but something became lacking. The magic wasn't there. The opinions have been lukewarm. At the same time as the movie did satisfactory on the field workplace, it failed to seize the same electricity as his earlier hits. It became clean, that audiences were beginning to move. On the mid-99s had been a peculiar time for Circle of Relatives films. Humans nonetheless loved them. They wanted more depth, more complexity. Coolin turned into, in a tough spot, he changed into. Still young, but he wasn't the identical, extensive-eyed youngster from Home Alone. He changed into growing up, and Hollywood did not recognize what to do with him. Films like Getting in Spite of Dad and The Webpage Grass struggled to make an effect. They weren't entire disasters. However, they were not the smash hits all of us predicted. Abruptly, the largest toddler star inside the global wasn't so untouchable anymore. Then, at simply 14 years antique, he did something nobody saw coming. He walked away. He turned into one of the highest paid toddler actors ever, making $8 million in keeping with movie. But he wanted out. He were working since he changed into 4 years antique. He had in no way known a life outside of films. He wanted to move to high school, make pals, and simply be a regular teenager. Macaulay Culkin and Mi Loon Un commenced relationship in May 2002. On the time both have been young stars, identifying their lives in Hollywood. Culkin changed into still called the Home Alone Kid, and Kunis become, gaining fame from that 770s show. Despite the media looking they saved their relationship, on the whole non-public. In a 2007 interview, Kunis said their existence together became easy. They hung out analyzing, playing video games, and watching movies. She additionally said Culkin was a brilliant cook, who made dinner each night. Time, however, as the years exceeded, things got complicated. By means of 2006, Culkin was residing in New York at the same time as Kunis became primarily based in Los Angeles. The lengthy distance began to put on them. In early 2011, they decided to move their separate ways. On the time, Kunis's publicist stated the breakup was amicable and that they stayed friends in 2018. Kunis admitted it wasn't as easy as human beings thought on a podcast. She said, 1. She treated the breakup badly and known as her conduct in her 20s terrible. She regretted how things ended, searching lower back. The breakup gave them each the risk to transport ahead. Kunis married Ashton Kutcher in 2015, and Culkin found love once more with actress Brenda Song. Despite the fact that their dating ended, it turned into a huge part of their lives and shaped the human beings they have become years later. Culkin met Track at a meeting hosted by means of Seth Green in 20201. 4. They didn't begin dating proper away, but in 2017, they labored together on Green's film Exchangeland. After filming, they grew closer, and through October, they had been seen together in public. They held hands at Knott's Frightening Farm and attended activities side via Facet. Unlike many Hollywood couples, they didn't share tons. Approximately their courting, deciding on to hold things non-public. In April 2020, result to non-public. In April 1, they welcomed their first infant, a son named Dakota. They named him after Culkin's sister, who surpassed away in 2008. In December 2022, that they had their 2D son Carson. In place of hiring a nanny, they relied on Song's mother and father for help. Culkin stayed domestic maximum of the time, calling himself a homebody dad, while Toon balanced paintings and motherhood. Sooner or later, before 2023, they were given engaged but in no way rushed to get married. They joked about eloping, however, decided to attend so they could encompass Track's circle of relatives. In December 2023, while Culkin acquired his superstar at the Hollywood Walk of Fame, enthusiasts observed Track sporting a gold band, some idea they may have already tied the knot. However, the couple didn't confirm anything. Their awareness remained on raising their children. Culkin has usually spoken exceedingly of Toon,